Rupert, I have a recurring question that keeps coming back, so I thought I would ask it. It's in regards to the similar thing about awareness. I may not have the words quite right, I hope I do, but so awareness turning its back on itself in order for this self, the illusory self, to come into existence as mind and then as body. It just doesn't feel right that it would turning it. Well, maybe I'm misinterpreting what turning its back on it means. I mean, that's like the parent saying, "Okay, just get out of here. You're gone. I want nothing more to do with you."
It means more ceasing to know itself as it is, and seeming, as a result, to know something other than it is, such as an object, other, or world. Now, how can awareness seem to overlook itself and as a result know that something that is not itself, such as an object? To do so, it must become a separate subject. And it does this by identifying itself with a body. Pure consciousness actually doesn't identify itself with a body. It has to rise in the form of thought. And it is that thought that identifies awareness with the body. And as a result, awareness seems to become finite, a finite subject. And it is that apparent finite subject that can then know something that is other than infinite awareness, that is, a finite object. Now, all this happens in the imagination. Awareness never truly ceases to know or be itself alone. You're right, it never truly turns its back on itself, or forgets itself, or overlooks itself, but it takes the shape of a thought and feeling which seems to overlook it, just as the screen takes the shape of the image that seems to veil it. But that you're right, at an absolute level, there is no real veiling or ignoring or forgetting of awareness, just as there is no real veiling of the screen.
Well, it feels like the forgetting is more on the illusory side.
Exactly.
So we come into the world...
But that's why in India they don't talk about ignorance, they talk about the illusion of ignorance.
Okay.
There is no real ignorance. Why is there duality? There isn't. Why is there duality? With the very why question, we create the duality whose cause we are seeking. When I say that? We, with the thought, why is there duality? With that very thought, we imagine the duality whose cause we are seeking. Duality is created in that moment with the thought that believes it is real. Why are there pink elephants? With that thought, you imagine that there are. You simultaneously imagine that there are pink elephants and at the same time ask, why? Why are there pink elephants? Because you ask about them. Why is there duality? Because thought thinks it. There isn't duality. But there isn't. For consciousness, there isn't. Mm-hmm. Infinite consciousness only ever knows itself. It is that infinite consciousness that rises as the finite mind by identifying itself with a temporary body, that seems to know something other than itself. But that is an illusion. There is no finite consciousness. There is no mind. There is no real mind. The finite mind is made out of infinite consciousness. Another way of saying that is that the finite mind is only a finite mind from the illusory point of view of a finite mind. And that is why I say that the finite mind gives birth to itself. We cannot blame infinite consciousness for giving birth to duality. Consciousness is innocent. God is not responsible for the suffering of the world. It's another way of saying it. That is why this image of a mother giving birth to herself, it's the finite mind that gives birth to the finite mind within its own imagination. It is not consciousness's fault. And this is the answer to the question that has perplexed religious people for centuries. Why does God allow suffering? This is the deep answer to that question. God doesn't know suffering. Now, this, of course, is intolerable to most people to hear this, because it strikes so profoundly at the roots of our beliefs about ourselves and about God. But it's the true answer. God doesn't know suffering. God doesn't know a separate self or a separate world.
I mean, that does seem to fit in a way with my own experience of suffering and peeling away the layers by looking at the pain and allowing that to rise, and feelings dissolving over a period of time. And
yes, and what do you find, if you do that, what do you find at the heart of the suffering?
I find that I was the cause of my own suffering, me, this illusory self.
Yes, but underneath that, what is there? Underneath that illusory I, which is at the heart of the suffering, what's underneath that I? Where is the suffering then, underneath that illusory I?
I don't find any suffering.
It's not there.
All I find is unconditional
And what do we call
love.
the absence of suffering? What's the common name for it?
Happiness or
Happiness.
bliss. Yeah.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
If you go deeply into any suffering, including your deepest depression, if you go deeply into it, you go all the way down through it, you go down and down and down, you'll find happiness at its origin.
Mm. That is true.
All feelings are happiness manifesting in some form or another. Even hatred is a manifestation of love. If you trace the hatred back all the way beyond the I thought, you'll find love as its origin.